News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Tears from the DDs, regret from Markus Kaarma. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. Congratulations, you made it. It's Friday, December 19th, 2014. Believe it or not, less than a week before Christmas. Wow. All right, right now we have a cloudy sky. We have 30 degrees in Missoula. Roads around the area primarily are bare and dry. However, there's some areas, especially up around Seeley Lake, that's snow-covered right now. And as you head west out of Missoula, you're going to find some wet and eventually snowy roads as you head over to Spokane and to Seattle. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Kootenai Creek Village, the maintenance-free active adult community in Stevensville, where you'll have hundreds of builders' options to choose from. The parents of a 17-year-old German exchange student who was shot to death by a Montana man say their dreams are broken. Selal and Gulcin Dede testified yesterday about the impact of their son Diren's death. Judge Ed McLean will consider their comments when sentencing Markus Kaarma, who was convicted of deliberate homicide Wednesday in the teen's killing. Selal Dede says his family no longer has plans for the future, that he and his wife have been unable to work. He says their lives have been turned upside down since their son was killed. Now, at that hearing, for the first time, Markus Kaarma was allowed to speak on his own behalf as he expressed his sorrow and regret over shooting their son, Diren Dede, to death.
I never intended to hurt someone that night. It was a terrible time for me and my family. We were so scared. No one was supposed to get hurt or killed. I can't even imagine the pain you feel. If I could go back in time and change it, I would. I am so sorry for your loss.
Mr. and Mrs. Dede thanked the people of Missoula for their outpouring of support in the shooting death of their son. They even posed for some photographs with Big Sky High School soccer players. In a surprise to many, Montana Shooting Sports Association President Gary Marbet, the drafter of Montana's versions of a host of gun laws, who was on Talkback yesterday, has come out in support of the guilty verdict in the deliberate homicide trial of Markus Kaarma. Marbet says the use of deadly force needed to be qualified by three important factors about the threat Kaarma was facing, but those factors were almost impossible to come by in the darkness of the Kaarma's garage.
If Kaarma could not have visualized his alleged assailant, how could he have qualified that his assailant had opportunity, ability, or intent? And how could he have determined that all three of those were imminent? And I think the jury figured that out.
Marbet went on to say the Kaarma trial actually showed the appropriateness of Montana's present gun laws.
I think that the Kaarma trial demonstrates that Montana gun laws work, and they work like they're supposed to, and that we've had an appropriate outcome from this whole thing. I also want to say that I think everybody knows there were no winners here. There were no winners in the incident. There were no winners in the trial. Everybody lost something, and that's why I tell my students, if there is a tactically viable way to not use lethal force, it's always better to not use it than to use it.
State Representative Ellie Hill has discussed bills that would change Montana's version of the Stand Your Ground and Castle Doctrine laws. Bozeman Deaconess Hospital has imposed restrictions on visitors in order to prevent the spread of influenza. As of yesterday, children under the age of 18 are asked not to visit the hospital because they're the most susceptible to the virus. However, children are allowed in physician clinics on the Highland Health Park Bozeman Deaconess Medical Campus. Those who have symptoms of upper respiratory infection, cough, or fever should not visit the hospital, and hospital employees will ask visitors with such symptoms to leave. A federal investigator says the Chippewa Cree tribe is being required to pay up front for work on a 50-mile water pipeline after tribal officials and companies were convicted of corruption charges related to that project. Joe Waller is the resident agent in charge of the U.S. Interior Department's Office of Inspector General. He said yesterday the Bureau of Reclamation typically would release money annually for federally funded projects such as the pipeline on Montana's Rocky Boys Reservation. That changed in recent months in response to the corruption convictions on the reservation. Waller says the tribe, through the Chippewa Cree Construction Corporation, is now required to submit invoices and receipts for pipeline costs. After she had been missing for more than 2 weeks, Missoula police finally located Taylor Matt, a 15-year-old high school student who had disappeared during school hours Tuesday, December 2nd. Police Public Information Officer Travis Welch describes how Taylor was discovered.
We received a call from a citizen who reported that she believed a young lady that matched the description of Taylor Matt was currently in an apartment complex laundry room, and an officer responded and did locate Taylor, and she is now in protective custody.
Police issued a photo of Taylor Monday after hearing reports that she'd been struggling to find food and shelter. Welsh says investigators are concerned about possible criminal activity that Matt may have suffered while she was missing. Going to school to learn a manufacturing skill in Montana got a bit easier yesterday with a new scholarship opportunity. Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education John Seck made the announcement.
Very excited today to announce the creation of the Gianforte Manufacturing Scholarship Program, which is focused on students and returning veterans who are interested in pursuing careers in manufacturing across Montana. We have most of the two-year and community colleges in the state participating, including Missoula College.
The Gianforte Family Foundation donated $500,000 to the grant, which is expected to have a big impact.
Over the next 2 years, we're estimating that it'll impact about 1,000 students. The selection process is based on financial need, veteran status, so there's a priority for returning veterans. And we're also looking at the likelihood that the program the student is pursuing will result in manufacturing employment in Montana.
The scholarship covers everything from welding and diesel technology to aeronautics. Next fall, the Montana Department of Transportation has proposed upgrading traffic signals at 3 major Missoula area intersections. Missoula District Administrator Ed Taves explains.
The first intersection is the intersection of 93 and Blue Mountain Road, where we are going to upgrade the existing flashing beacons so that they flash only when the signal is going to change from green to red. And we are also going to do that very same upgrade at the intersection of US 93 and Miller Creek.
Another change is planned on North Reserve.
At West Broadway and Reserve, we have a flashing signal that flashes constantly in the eastbound lane. That will be upgraded to our modern standard to only flash when cars are detected, when we're going to change from green phase to red phase.
Those proposed changes currently open for public comment. More changes affecting big signal upgrades for Missoula's downtown area is set to take place in the summer of 2016. Our News Talk time is 6:10.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies today with scattered showers. We'll see areas of rain and snowfall with our high temperatures warming into the mid-30s. Tonight, rain changes back to snow with our lows in the upper 20s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.